to Schechter. My name is Nancy Kaplan. I'm the Associate Head of School, and I'm just so excited that all of you are here. Our goal tonight is just to give you a glimpse into who we are as educators, as alumni, as parents and former parents, and to help you get a little bit of a feel for what Schechter is like as you start to think about what decisions are best for your families, for your individual kids, and what feels right to you as you're sort of planning your family's academic journey. So before we sort of dive into the meat, we're gonna do introductions. You don't have to plan anything. We're all gonna just share our names, what our role is if you're panelists, if you are prospective parents, what your kids' names are, and their ages. But we're gonna put our teachers on the spot first. So do you feel like starting?
Sure. Good evening. My name is Shauna Shoulder. I am the General Studies kindergarten teacher, one of three. We have 3 kindergartens this year. I am a very proud employee of this wonderful institution. I am also a mother of 3 alumni that came through Schechter. And are 24, 22, and 21. No, 20. I'm aging her already. She wants to be 21. She's 20 still. So I also was in your shoes a long time ago. And so I could wear both hats as far as what we do educationally and also as a parent. So I'm so glad that I made that decision. And that's a little bit about me.
Hi everyone, I'm Lauren Patinkin. I am one of the 2nd grade general studies teachers. This is my 11th year at Schechter teaching. I did teach 1st grade for a number of years, and actually Cooper and Shiley were in my first class that I ever had here, so this is like really very emotional for me to be here with them. They're like adults now almost. So really excited to talk with all of you and let you know about what it looks like for us at Schechter.
I'm Faye Behrman, and I am the Hebrew and Judaic Studies Curriculum Coordinator and Instructional Coach here at Schechter. I started my career here back in the year 2000. I also am the parent of 2 Schechter grads and a current 6th grader. And I think Cooper and Shiley actually were my last class of when I was teaching in the classroom.
We were everything.
5 years ago or something, first, last. And I also, like my colleagues, very, very proud to work here.
Hi, I'm Shiley. I'm a junior and I go to Rochelle Zone now, and I graduated in 2023, I think.
Hello everyone, my name is Cooper, and Cooper Baum. I also was in the same grade as Shiley in 2023, and I was in Ms. Patinkin's class, in Mrs. Spearman's class, and I'm so happy to be here. So thank you, yeah.
Hi, I'm Serena Gerson. I am a parent of 2 current students, a 3rd grader and a 6th grader, and a recent alum who is a freshman at Rochelle Zell.
David Friedland. I am a parent of 3 alumni and uncle of 3, and I have not been in this building in a while, and I cannot believe how great it looks. It's unbelievable. And I'm happy to share some of my thoughts tonight with you. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them, but good to see everybody.
All right, so I'm gonna give sort of a little bit of an overview about how we approach everything here at Schechter, and then I'm really gonna turn it over to our panelists to talk about how and why we do our work. So, Phil, do you mind? So, I'm gonna put people on the spot. David, will you read our mission for us that's right behind us?
At Schechter, we ignite our students, Jewish souls, educate them to their highest potential, and empower them to use their knowledge, skills, and creativity to enrich our world.
So our goal is that those are not just words that we make people read from screens. We really try to bring our mission to life. And I think each of us probably looks at that and sees it differently. I will tell you from my perspective, my goal is that whether our kids are 2 or 14, that when they wake up in the morning, they have that fire in their belly, that we are really igniting their Jewish souls, that they want to come here and learn. And yes, the older they get, the more tired they get, and the harder mornings may be. but I want them to show up here with this great desire to grow, to figure out who they are and who they want to be, and to know that all of the grown-ups in this building are gonna help them get there in whatever path that takes them on. And we actually begin a lot of our meetings with our mission, and different teams for the different grades talk about what that mission means to them, how they actually see it coming to life in their classroom. So our goal is to keep it alive. And the way we do that is really by thinking about our core values. Our core values guide everything that we're doing. And while I'm not gonna talk about each of our core values, I'm just gonna give an example. So before every meeting we plan, before every unit we plan, we think about which core value is attached to it. So when Hillary and I were talking about tonight, our goal is to welcome you into our kahila, into our community, to help you feel like you are joining us for an hour and 15 minutes of your time. And then at the hour and 15 minutes is up-ish, I talk a lot, you can walk out of here and be like, yeah, I really get a feel for who they are as a group, who they are as teachers, as students, as parents, and to leave here with 100 burning questions that you want to call Hillary tomorrow and ask her to get more information. And our goal is to talk to you about what that journey looks like, to really think about what it means to go from a 2-year-old to a 14-year-old with us, and to think about what it means for Lauren to watch the 6-year-olds in her classroom grow into 17? 16-year-olds who come back and volunteer their time.
Yeah, I told myself here.
To sort of blow Lauren's mind when she sees the two of them sitting here when they were in her first grade classroom. And the way we use our core values and the way we ensure that we're meeting our mission is to have our educational philosophy, is to have our educational philosophy really inform all of our work. And again, I'm not going to read all of these for you. If anybody has that burning desire to hear more about our core values and our mission and our vision and our educational philosophy, you could also give me a call tomorrow. I love talking about it and can talk to you all night, but I'm going to be quick. I'm just going to look at the first one. Children are highly capable and competent. It doesn't matter how old your kids are. It matters that we trust their innate abilities to grow and to develop, and that they have an incredible amount of skills no matter what age or stage or developmental needs they walk in to our school with. They are so capable of doing so much in each of our classrooms, and it's our job as educators to help them figure out what that is, and to help challenge them and embrace them, and for them to know that they can take risks and try new things, and that we see them and we value them and we love them, and that it's our greatest honor to partner with all of you as parents in helping to raise your babies to become the people they're meant to be. So with that, I'm just going to sort of give you the outline for this. The only reason we are successful is because of our community, and our teachers and our students and our really dedicated families make up that community. And so, as I said, I could talk to you about Schechter forever, and it is way more impactful for you to hear directly from all of the people who create the incredible community we get to be in each day, about what their experience is teaching, learning, and living and choosing Schechter for their families. So with that, I'm going to sort of just ask some guiding questions. Anyone can jump in. But because our teachers are very used to it, I'm going to call them out first for each question, and then students, Serena, David, you all jump in. So I want to start with academics, and Shauna, I'm gonna have you go first.
Great.
And I'm curious if you could think about our educational philosophy and how you actually bring that to life in your classroom with your kids.
So the first thing that I think of academically is that, kind of piggybacking on what Nancy just said, was that we meet the children where they are. They're capable, they're competent, whether they're coming from Mariah or a JCC or the ECC here. There's lots of different educational philosophies. I know Reggio is a big one. I'm looking at this, I think Mariah was over here, and so the ECC is too. We're bridging that gap academically. We're making them feel, what is it? First and foremost, they will be able to learn all of their letters and their sounds and their math and all of the academic needs. But in kindergarten, the philosophy comes in, we're building relationships, not only with the child, but with you. That's key. No child is going to feel comfortable without building that relationship first with, I'm very energetic, I'm very excited, I don't ever want to leave kindergarten. If I could have stayed there when I was 5, I had to do all the processes, got my master's and everything, but then I went right back to kindergarten. It is the best place to be. It is joyful. And we do our academic learning in a very joyful, playful way. And then when I say playful, what that means is that we're doing hands-on. It's not frontal teaching. I'm on the floor with them. They're using manipulatives. We're doing, maybe you're an audio, your lessons, you're more of a visual learner. I have things for that. You're kinesthetic. I have things that they can touch and they can feel. We meet them where they are, but we build that relationship with them first. And we really want them to feel socially and emotionally stable. I mean, right now we are out of COVID-ish. We went through a whole lot of, where they were maybe socially isolated. They are now learning, what it means to be a student. That's what kindergarten is all about. So we do all the academics. We have strong curriculum. We do. And yet, we really want this to be a place where they feel confident. They know how to take their turn and raise a quiet hand and sit properly at the rug and not take a lot of real estate, and do all of that. There's a lot of growing in kindergarten, not just like at the beginning of the year, every day. They are growing and learning. They're 4, they're 5, some of them turn 6. It's the most incredible, magical year. If you have been on a tour, I hope you get to stop into not just only my room, but any of the kindergarten rooms to really get a sense, to see this, philosophy in action.
So every student at our school gets what they need. Same with the teachers. I tend to talk a lot, so just give me a little sign when you need me to stop and move on. So in our mission statement, we talk a lot about how we value educating each student to their highest potential. And Schechter truly embraces this value, and you see it every day in our learning. So in the lower grades, we have a very wonderful structure set up, so we really can give every single student exactly what they need. Whether that's intervention, they need some more support, or an extension, they already understand material and they're ready to be pushed to something new. And the reason that we're able to do that is because of our dual curriculum. So we have our grades in what we call SHARs. So 1st and 2nd grade work very closely together, and 3rd and 4th grade work very closely together. So when my 2nd grade students are in their Hebrew or Judaic classes, that leaves me available to either collaborate with my other partners or to be extra support for 1st grade. And 3rd and 4th have that same model. And what's so special is that every single year it looks different because we are truly catering to that cohort's needs academically. So I'll give a couple of examples. Last year, we had a group of students who really needed to have extra practice with decoding, right? Breaking apart words, sounding out words for their reading. So we were able to use our 1st grade teachers to work closely with a group of 2nd grade students so that we could close the gap for them. Then in another group, we had students who were already understanding a lot of the math concepts that we were teaching. So we said, instead of just having them sit and learn something that they already understand, let's give them an opportunity to really raise the bar for them and allow them to be enriched. So we had a 1st grade teacher who was doing an enrichment class for their math. And what we do is flexible grouping. So every time we have a new module or a new unit, we collect a lot of data and we see where are these kids, and let's make sure that we are meeting them where they are, giving them what they need. And what's really nice for me, I grew up going to public school, and I remember there was such a stigma on being pulled out by a teacher or having a teacher come in and work with you. And I have to say, students beg for the other teachers to pull them, and because the grades work so closely, like it's their old teachers or their future teachers, they like want to go and work with other teachers or want other teachers to come in and work with them. And it's really nice how we have the ability to do that. I think it's something that is pretty unique to Schechter.
Can I add
Yes.
something? That I forgot to tell you is that I'm the general studies teacher, but I have a Judaic studies teacher that works with me all day. So there are 2 teachers, educators in the classroom at all times. And so, which is really great, and talk about like, you know, like lighting that inner, like, what do you call it, Nancy? Like the neshama, you're getting like, you're lighting that. So I speak Hebrew. I am also a product of a Jewish day school, not here, but my kids also went here. So it's very much a very bilingual, very Jewish. We can really intertwine the Jewish curriculum into the general studies curriculum seamlessly, which works out beautifully. So it's not just like, okay, you know, I'm done and we're gonna switch hats and go right into Judaics or Tefillah or anything. It's throughout the day, it's seamless. You wouldn't even know. During my morning meeting, we'll just be singing some songs in Hebrew or ask, you know, Eze Yom Hayom, and even though they know it's a Monday, well, Echomri Monday B'Ivrit, you know, so we'll be saying these things, so they're getting that throughout the day. So we also collaborate. There's also 2 educators throughout the whole entire day, even though that we're onto ourselves. We can live in a little island. I mean, we collaborate with the first and the second grade teams all the time, as far as like scaffolding all the things that we're learning. But we are lucky in the sense that we have 2 educators with the small group of like 16, 17 children per class. It's a wonderful ratio, and it really helps us meet them where they are.
Cooper, can I call you up to talk a little bit about academics and what your experience was like at Schechter and how you reflect back on it?
I'm so sorry because I've made so many mistakes teaching you my first year, so I apologize.
Yeah, I would.
Specifically, can you talk about more? Right?
I was just gonna say that like they're mentioning like this like dual curriculum and like these enrichment classes and the joy in kindergarten, and I can like 100% vouch for that. I think it's really true, and I like very recently experienced this. But I think I even more so talked to all of you about like the high school and like the later years in Schechter. And from what I understand, like it's all like a building thing. But like at the end of 8th grade, I think that I go to Deerfield High School. I forgot to mention that, which is like a public school, and you can really tell like who's gone to Schechter. I think it's really evident, like the students who have like gone through like the entire experience, the 9 years, and I think it's like very high level students and like good people, genuine people, and I think that's attributed to like a number of things. I know we talked about like critical thinking, and I think, and like engagement, and I think there are so many projects and so many assignments, and like I'll say like for example, like I remember Ms. Bierman taught me like the Navi and Talmud classes, or like Mishnah, and I think there's a lot of like special things to these classes where you look into text, you spend a lot of time just thinking and communicating and collaborating and like discussing with like kids and friends and teachers. And I think there's some like very valuable like pieces to these classes at Schechter that you can't find anywhere else. So I think there's a major like critical thinking part of it. And then I think also with teachers too, there's no other school like you have such like a strong and like enjoyable like relationship with your teachers. I think like right now at public school it's much different. Like maybe my teacher doesn't know where I went for like over the summer or like what I do outside of school, but like you really enjoy like talking to the teachers and being with the teachers. And I know in every grade after school you just go talk to teachers, you go talk to your friends, you do who knows what. I think it's like a really great environment, and I think the academics come very naturally to all the students, and I think the whole process and like the way in which like the curriculum and the school and like the engagement is designed is super beneficial with that.
Just kind of thought all that up. Serena, can I put you on the spot as a parent, talk about academics?
So I live in Skokie, and the community that I'm a part of looks at a lot of different day schools. We have great public schools, and as I was deciding what school we wanted to send our kids to, one of the things that stood out to me the most was the sort of differentiated learning opportunities that Lauren talked about. And I really spent a lot of time thinking about how although I thought all of my children were brilliant, I had no idea what their needs would be. And I wanted to pick a school that could offer them a lot of different resources for the needs that might emerge. And you know, I talk about this all the time, so the teachers will probably roll their eyes, but like every year the teachers that we have exceeded our expectations. We're like, oh, this is why we're at this school. We have a kid who immediately demonstrated aptitude for learning and a hunger, and sort of like quickly moved into accelerated classes, and at one point during the testing didn't qualify for the math class that he was supposed to be in to stay with his peers. And the teacher said, he doesn't have the skills yet. I'm willing to work with him to give him the extra time, because I know if he doesn't make it into that class, it's gonna derail him and he's not gonna try as hard. So teachers who really took the time to get to know our kids and what their unique needs were and to work with them. And I found myself recently on the other end of the spectrum, where my daughter actually is probably one of the students that Lauren was talking about. She was in 2nd grade last year, and she was like, you know what's so amazing? Sometimes I get to sit in the back of the classroom and I work with one of my teachers, and we just like talk and have the best time. And I know I'm having a hard time with reading, but we just have so much fun working through the text together. And that is a very special thing, that like not only are they interested in learning and in pushing themselves, but there are supports here that, to Lauren's point, like they're not embarrassed about what they can or can't do. They see in their peers lots of different strengths, and like really part of the school is priding students on picking up on each other's strengths. You might be excellent at math and you're really good at sports and you're really good at navigating classroom conversation. The teachers take the time to know what kids' strengths are and to call them out and celebrate them so that they can see those qualities in each other, which has stood out to me as I watch all 3 of my children go through the school. And I think we're incredibly lucky to have such a supportive environment for them, so that, again, on the days that are tough, every school there are days where they're tough, where the kids don't want to learn or they're not performing in the ways that they want. They still have a strong enough relation with their teachers that they can navigate it and overcome it. I'll just sort of echo what Cooper said. My son, when he was choosing a high school, one of the things he kept saying to me was, I know you want me to be in a big school and you want me to be like a faceless name who can like be in a really diverse pool of other types of students. I love getting to know my teachers, and I love having a relationship with them, and I think that's what I'm looking for in my next academic environment. And I don't think he would have been able to articulate the kinds of things that he was looking for as a learner and sort of know his own strengths without the foundation that he developed here.
And I'll say too that like teachers not necessarily knowing what I was doing over the summer at high school says nothing about the high school that I go to currently. Like I love it. I just think it's different like when you're younger and when you're a 5th grader or 6th grader or something like that, as opposed to someone my age where it's like a different level. Just to clarify.
Thank you guys. I'm gonna move us forward. I want to talk a little bit about social emotional learning, which to us is just as important as academic learning. We believe they go hand in hand. So Lauren,
I feel like you should set a timer.
I'm gonna wait you all day long.
This is like, I mean, you talk about calling Hillary or Nancy tomorrow. If you want to talk social emotional learning, I will talk to any of you for like hours about this. This is like my love. So it's interesting because we all know students need to be taught how to read, how to write, how to do math, Hebrew, all of those things. And often people forget that those social emotional skills are just that, they're skills. And they need to be explicitly taught. Now, there are some kids and some adults who naturally are empathetic or can take others' perspectives and can solve problems. And there are other children and adults who have areas that they could improve on. And our school truly values the importance of helping students to build those social emotional skills. Because we know that if a student doesn't feel good and doesn't feel safe and isn't happy, the academic piece isn't going to come. They're not going to be able to learn. And so our school, because it values the social emotional learning, does so many things to set our students up for success. So I will talk about a few of those things, and then I would probably get cut off. So the first thing is, every morning and every afternoon, we start in Kahila, in our Kahila classrooms. And this is a time where we greet each and every student. We do some sort of share to get to know each other. We do some sort of activity that often, intertwines curriculum. And then at the end of the day, it looks different from younger to older, but it's the same idea that we are coming back together as this Kahila, as this community. We're checking like, hey, how was your day? Really like giving a big like send off to everyone before they leave to go home. So we have that Kahila set up every single day. We have explicit social emotional curriculum. we use things like second step and social thinking, and as Jews, we value lifelong learning. So as teachers, we're constantly making sure that we're up to date with best practices. So if we find a social emotional curriculum, or any curriculum for that matter, isn't hitting where it needs to and it's not meeting the students' needs, our school is really good about making sure that we're putting the best curriculums in place. So we have explicit social emotional curriculum that helps teach certain skills, and then we organically apply those skills into our everyday learning. We have multiple philosophies that we live by at the school. We use a program called Responsive Classroom that's all about how you set up your classroom to feel like a community. The rules are created by the children. They don't walk in and just have rules posted, but they start the year talking about how their hopes and their dreams. Anything from, I hope to be able to do the monkey bars, to like, I hope to learn multiplication. And they then use those hopes and dreams to come up with what they need to do for those hopes and dreams to come true as a class, and they establish those classroom rules. And there are so many pieces about responsive classroom that you just see organically throughout our day. I could talk about responsive classroom at a whole other time. I will quickly talk about our final philosophy that we really love, which is called collaborative problem solving. And the philosophy with collaborative problem solving is that kids do well if they can. And I think that's really an important belief to have. Every child is going to have a moment. Every child is going to have a bad day or struggle or have a challenge. And it is looking at that child with, hey, something's getting in the way. Like, there's a skill that we're working on that's making whatever expectation I'm giving you hard for you. You're not doing this to be disrespectful. It's not personal. It's a way of you're asking for help, or are you saying, like, I don't have the skill. And so it's, our school really has a different angle of looking at this now. We're looking at a child who maybe is having a hard time as, what can we help them with? What skill are they working on that we can help them build so that they can meet these expectations that we're giving them? And I think the way that we view children is really important. Like, you know, those of us who are parents, we say, like, we look at each child as though it's our student, and how would we want a teacher to treat our child? And so your children aren't just another face here. Like, they are a person. Like, we know that they belong to you. They are the most important thing in the world to you, and it allows us to make sure we're treating the students with dignity, with respect, with compassion, with empathy. Even on the days when they drive us a little crazy, in the back of our mind, we know, like, they are the most important person to all of you, and that we are partners to make sure that they are getting what they need academically, socially, and emotionally at school here. So.
I on one of you to chat a little bit.
Sure. I can speak more to like the social identity aspect of this, and I know Ms. Kaplan said that the community was such like an integral part of like the nature of Schechter and like the environment of Schechter, and I want to talk a little more about that, being that the size of the school and the size of the grade and the fact of all the students being in classes together and doing so many things together and going on trips together and being in all these situations where you're just with your peers all the time and you really get to know each other and like make very strong and like 9-year-long lasting relationships. I think it makes you like a very comfortable person. I think it feels really good every year that you know all these people and you have like such good relationships, the community supports you, and you come together in like a bunch of different like all school activities or like shot hours that Ms. Patinkin was talking about. And it's a really great place to be, and I know no one who disagrees with that. And I think with this like feeling so comfortable, it's easy to become confident. And I think you can see that these kids at Schechter, in being so comfortable, are confident in like what they like and in who they are, and in just there's no pressure. I think you see a lot of authentic kids come out of Schechter, and I think it's really important and really special, especially after Schechter, and you see all these people who like know who they are and are really excited about things and have like no care about what other kids think, which I think is something rare, and I think it's something really, really awesome. And even at high school, I'll talk about one more time, like you can tell the kids from Schechter, like they have no doubt in their minds about like what they're doing. They're very confident, and I think that's something to take away.
Can I just add one thing, although I'm not a high schooler.
You've raised a few.
But, you know, Cooper, you just made me think of something because of my own children. I have 20-year-olds, and I think that as an alumni, I hear them say this even more so the last 2.5 years as we've been unfortunately under, you know, war and the rise of anti-Semitism. They've never been prouder to be Jewish. I like to take some credit as a parent raising them Jewishly in our home, but I know the foundation is these 9 years that they were given to live Jewishly and proudly. And I really feel that, you know, when you say like, feel confident, they are confident Jews and feel proud, especially in a society right now. You know, I have, my youngest is still in college and what they've been experiencing on the college campuses. And so I feel, as a parent, I'm putting my parent hat on, I know that this is, you come out of these 9 years. Mine went on to RZ, but even without even the public school, I feel they have a sense of identity, of being proud Jews. And I think now more than ever, that is so important. And just the fact that you're in this room, I think that you would agree, that's just so important. So I just wanted to say that.
It's like a nice segue to the Judaism.
David, do you want to jump in and out?
Sure. So I look at things from the lens of like return on investment, ROI. Anyone who's in the finance world knows that term. I came to Schechter, or my family came to Schechter, not because it was really intentional, because we thought Schechter was going to be the right choice for our family. It was really dictated by something quite superficial, which was the public school didn't offer full-day kindergarten when my son was 5 years old, and we were ready to have him go to full-day kindergarten for a lot of reasons. And our plan, I say business plan, our family plan was to have him come for just 1 year. And it didn't turn out that way. I sent 3 kids here for many, many years, and I was not enthusiastic about it in the beginning. And when I sat through graduation, when all 3 of my kids graduated, I'm like, wow, this was the greatest investment I've ever made. And there's a lot of reasons for it. And I look for empirical reasons to support my thesis that, or proof of concept that Schechter gives you a qualitative edge. It's about a qualitative edge. That's what I think as a parent. I want to give my kid the best chance of being successful in life. So when I think of Schechter intentionally developing the whole student academically, you educators are best in class. I mean, there's no doubt about that, and that to me is just unbelievable. But when I say the whole student, it's not only academic, it's self-advocacy, confidence, being able to get up in front of a group of people and speak to them. These kids are trained through when they get up and chant the Torah, which again was never important to me, but oh my God, I'm so glad they did it. We see these kids that go to the public schools who are the presidents of student council and are heads of their clubs. It's just amazing what comes out of this school. And I have a couple empirical pieces of evidence. One is a teacher approached me and my wife at an open house and asked if my kid went to Schechter just out of the blue. And we said yes, and she's like, I can tell the difference in writing and thinking, which to me, especially in a day like today when AI is taking over and critical thinking is eroding and creativity is eroding and social media creates short attention spans. When you think about the dual curriculum here in Torah study, these kids learn to be deep critical thinkers in a time when we don't see it that much. And what does that do? It just gives you skills for the rest of your life. Funny story, at least I think it's funny, in 7th grade, I was taking my son and his friend to a basketball game. They played youth basketball in Romeoville, Illinois, and they're walking out in their basketball uniforms, and they see a $5 bill sitting on the floor, and they get in my car, and they ask this question: what would Rashi do about seeing that $5 bill? Rashi, by the way, if you don't know, was a French medieval rabbi scholar who studied and taught and commented on Jewish law. And you have these 12-year-olds sitting in a car talking about what's the right thing to do with that $5 bill. And they also were talking about fantasy football as well. So, I mean, they're just well-rounded. The range that these kids end up with, where they could talk about Rashi, but also do fantasy football, is incredible. And just my own personal story, I'm not trying to pat myself on my back. My kids did okay, but my son was on the varsity basketball team at Deerfield. He was the captain of the team. It's just because of leadership that he got here, in my opinion. And my daughter spoke at USC to a group of 1,000 students during the October 7th period, and was at a rally, and she was on a club called Tamid at USC. I just can't tell you, I can't even articulate how good the return on investment was, and there's no other explanation for it than seeing how these kids end up, and it's the qualitative edge from Schechter.
I think that's a perfect transition from Rashi to talking about our purpose here, which is to be a Jewish day school. Our core curriculum is excellent. We pride ourselves on it, and one of the reasons it is so excellent is because it's our core values that guide us. So Faye, I'm curious if you could talk to us a little bit about what it's like to work in a Jewish day school and what that means as we can go educating our kids.
So I want to say that Judaism, our school lives and breathes Judaism. I mean, you've heard several times already. I feel like actually I don't even need to talk because people have already said things that I was going to say. But whether we are, celebrating, learning about, observing the Jewish holidays, Shabbat, whether we are marking and celebrating our students' many milestones and life cycle events, our students are really able to live our core values here in this school. And because we really live by the Jewish calendar here at school, Joyful Judaism literally exists around every corner here. We've just completed, our fall holiday cycle, and just today in 4th grade tefillah and 4th grade prayers, we welcomed in the new month of Cheshvan, the month that comes after our Jewish New Year, and we talked about the funny nickname that this month has, Cheshvan. The nickname is Mar Cheshvan. Mar from maror, from the Passover Seder, the bitter herbs, that this is a bitter month. And the students were talking about how, there are no holidays this month. And I'm sure the parents, are like, thank God, it's enough, go back to school. And but our students really feel that joy of living the Jewish calendar here at school, taking what they've learned here home, and they're bummed that there are no holidays this month. Luckily, we've got Shabbat that comes every week, but there will be something missing this month as we get, really back into our regularly scheduled program, but just awaiting the next holiday to come. Shauna talked about how the general studies doesn't just stop and then make room for the Judaic studies, the Hebrew, that they're they're woven together very seamlessly. She talked about how the kids are singing Hebrew songs in their morning meeting, or how they're, announcing the day of the week in Hebrew. And really our students here really do receive the gift of a Hebrew language education. And our goal is for our students to be proficient in the language. And what does that mean? That they live and they learn and they think and they dream in Hebrew, and that they're able to function in the language. So we will see more of students interacting with one another in Hebrew with the vocabulary that they've learned. And we'll see them interacting with their teachers in Hebrew. And like the learning of all of the grammatical rules that are really important in knowing how to speak properly, they come organically, but it's really more about how we can function in the language. So the students in their morning meeting will announce the day in Hebrew, or they'll tell everyone what the weather is in Hebrew, and then they take that, they just continue to build on those skills through 8th grade. And not only do they learn and show that they're able to function in modern Hebrew language, But they also learn how to navigate the Hebrew of a prayer book, so that they can go out in the world and feel that they are part of our greater Jewish community, that they have skills that they learned here in school that they can take with them. They learn biblical Hebrew and they learn rabbinic Hebrew. Hello, Rashi. And so really by the time they graduate 8th grade, they know 3 different types of Hebrew. It's pretty impressive. And one of the things that I'm most excited to talk about, both as a Sevet member, as a staff member, but also as a parent, is our Judaic Studies curriculum, which you've heard little snippets about already this evening. You know, our students, they learn a ton of Torah stories. They learn a lot of Jewish law. And they also learn how to learn. And this is a very strong emphasis in our Judaic Studies classes. We teach our students how to learn. We teach them how to learn with a learning partner, with a chavruta, from the root chaver, friend. Our students are not born knowing how to work with another person, okay? Especially when it comes to going deep into a text, any text, whether it's a video or a Jewish text or a language arts text. They're not born with these skills to learn with another person. We teach them. And so there's this big emphasis on the relational learning piece. And our students practice, they learn and they practice how to really listen to one another, how to articulate their own ideas and their own thoughts, how to support and to challenge their classmates' ideas and even their teachers' ideas. And they learn how to read something or engage with something and wonder about it. We really want them asking questions, and it's a skill. You have to learn how to do that. And so these are the types of skills that are also very transferable. So if we're kind of wondering about, you know, oh, but there's also general studies and how does it, you know, the time work out with the Judaic studies, what they're learning in Judaic studies really and truly complements and reinforces what they're learning in their their general studies classes. These are all the skills that, you know, will help them out in all of their academics, in their social emotional lives, and we hope, God willing, one day out there in their professional lives, these skills.
Do you want to talk a little bit about what it's like to go to a Jewish day school?
I'd love to. I think that Schechter really just like shaped my Jewish identity, and I think at the time I really took it for granted, but like the skills that you learn in your Jewish classes aren't obvious. Like the fact that I was able to celebrate all of the holidays and know what each of them meant, and go to Israel and be able to read and write in Hebrew, and like be able to advocate for Israel with the rise of anti-Semitism, and like even just go to like a bar mitzvah and like be able to understand what they're saying in the prayers. I think it wasn't obvious to me how important that was at the time, and I think now looking back at it, like and reflecting, it helped me with not only just like understanding who I am as a person, who I am as a Jew, and like knowing all the holidays, but also it helped me be able to critical think, be able to form my own opinions, and specifically how Schechter does it. It's very like you're on your own, but like you're able to form your own opinions, and you're able to take things out of a text and read it however you see it, and they don't really tell you how to like think and how to read it. It's more yourself, and it like helps you grow as a person, helps you critical think, and so I think that was super important for me. And that was also a big part of like why I chose to go to Rochelle Zell, because I didn't want to lose that part of myself, and I wanted to keep being able to learn more Hebrew, and yeah, so it was super important for me.
David, you talked a little bit about how this might not have been your first choice, and you chose it for reasons that were not Jewishly driven. I'm curious, looking back, what your kids' experience is like now, having gone through Schechter as Jews who are sort of beginning their grown-up lives?
You could take the kid out of Schechter, but you can't take Schechter out of the kid. I mean, that's so cliche, but I call it like their bones are Jewish. It's in their bones, and their values, their thinking, their wanting to be advocates for Jews in general, and the rise of anti-Semitism, as Shauna said. I couldn't be more proud of my kids and all of their friends. Every one of them, every single one of them, in my opinion, have come out of this school with this deep, deep connection to Judaism, to Israel, and it just doesn't go away. It lasts. And what's the benefit of it? The benefit is immeasurable. I don't know why this occurs to me, but tonight is the first night of the NBA, or second night of the NBA, and I don't know if you guys paid attention, but why is it relevant? Danny Wolf, who went to school here, 7-foot-tall Jew, was a first-round draft choice for the Brooklyn Nets, is playing in the NBA. So obviously the possibilities are endless if he goes. He played for Team Israel, and here's this guy who is a one in a gazillion type guy, whose love for Israel has never been more evident. And I think it translates to all these kids, all these students. And I think it just sets them up for life, a meaningful life that you wouldn't experience but for Solomon Schechter. I don't know if that answers the question, but
Perfectly.
Can I jump in?
Yeah, please.
So I just want to share another perspective. My family's Shomer Shabbat, and I hope that whatever we did in the home would reinforce our religious version of what we hope for our kids. And what I love the most about my kids coming here is that they developed their own identity, and they were exposed to so many different types of Jewish people and developed such a deep respect for lots of different communities. They visited different synagogues, they spent Shabbat with friends, having different experiences, and some of their friends would come to us and say, oh, we want to have a Skokie Shabbat, and like really that understanding of what I was looking for in a religious community, what being Jewish means to me. My kids are all very different from each other, but one decided he wanted to wear a kippah and tzitzit and have his own davening at school, and the teachers were like, sure, we'll let him have this space where he can figure out for himself what it means. And my other kids were like, we like to be a part of the group, or we like to hang out with our neighborhood friends, or we love being a part of a school community where kids are having lots of different Jewish experiences, and they come home and bring that richness into our family as well, to share people's traditions and what being Jewish means to them. I think it speaks to the curriculum piece that Faye was talking about, that there's so many different ways that we want our kids to feel comfortable in different Jewish communities and to feel a sense of connection to the text, the language, the culture, the religion. Again, we have no idea what our kids will go on to do, but having a really strong foundation empowers them to make lots of different choices in the future. I think that has been very evident for us as we've watched our kids go to the school.
Thank you. So I'm going to ask just one more question of our panelists, and Shauna, I'm really going to focus on you.
Great.
I know that not everyone in here is at the stage where they're thinking about kindergarten, and if you have kids that are a little bit older, I'm happy to answer questions later about what that transition is like. But Shauna, I'm curious how you help kids transition from an early childhood environment to becoming more independent and autonomous learners in the kindergarten classroom.
Great. So the first thing is I go back to relationships. We're very intentional. Everything we do is very intentional. So when you get your list, we make sure that there's a day to come, and it's to come and meet and greet, and you can come and you can meet the classroom teacher. They get to see the classroom. They get to see their locker. Yes, kindergarten, we get lockers. It's very exciting. So we start with intention that everything is not a surprise. We just make sure that everything is comfortable from the very beginning. They get to see the space and the teacher. And then with that, in the first 6 weeks, it's really not about academics. It's about acclimating very slowly and learning what it means to be a student. The academics will come. It's about building that trusting relationship, and we take things very slowly. From the first day, we do just a scavenger hunt around this, what to them is a huge school, right? They're coming from their classroom, and in preschool you usually stay within your classroom community. Here we have 3 kindergartens, and we go to different places. The library's upstairs. They're like they see third graders, they think they're seniors in high school. So to them, it could be a little daunting. So everything is with intent and just acclimating and getting used to what it means to be a student. Advocating for themselves. What does that mean? Really honing on their social, emotional. We have to teach these skills. You know, you learned your lesson. I've taught over 20-something years. I've been Schefter for 6. I actually was at Mariah for many years. But, you know, you think you take things for granted. You know, oh, scissors, here you go, just cut. They might cut someone's hair next to them. You know, everything has intention, and you take it very slowly, and these skills are taught. And we want them to feel very comfortable with just their environment, their teacher, and becoming a part of a wider school community, because it's a much bigger place than they're used to. So that's what we really hone in on. And it's just, again, the joy, it's joyful, fun, just learning every single day. And they're just delicious. So all the 4 and 5-year-olds I think that might be coming, I'm just so excited. Please, if you haven't taken a tour, really to see it in action, it's very joyful. I mean, the general studies, I can talk through it, but I live the Judaic studies too, because I'm in the classroom with them. And just tefillah, next Friday we're having our first communal event, which is Simchat Shabbat. Simcha is happiness, Shabbat is our Sabbath, and it is going to be a day of joy. The parents are going to come in and celebrate Shabbat with us for a beautiful Shabbat lunch. Everyone's going to wear their Shabbat beautiful clothes, and nothing is just more beautiful. We get a little verklempt, but it's not just a performance. It's living Judaism, and it's tradition. It's carrying on that next generation and teaching them the value of joyful Jewish living, and hopefully a very comfortable, we're just the extension of your family. And hopefully that's exactly what we are as far as like a 5-year-old coming in. I get called mommy a lot, and I take it as a compliment. I would love to be their mother. I'm a mother of 3, but I get, Mrs. Shoulder, Mom, they just like intertwine, because the comfort is there, and that's what we want. We're building that relationship and just learning what it is to be a student. So that's really, it's about acclimating, and then the academics come. It's every year they grow. I know first and second for sure, but from where they come in August and where they leave in May, it's just like, and they just grow that much, and they're missing teeth, and it's just so magical. It's a great year.
So I think with that, I'm going to say thank you to our panelists. I really hope that this gave you a little bit of a vantage point into the incredibly courageous and thoughtful way that our teachers think about how they go about educating your children. Thank you to our students who, honestly, we love it so much when you come back and visit us, and we have such enormous pride listening to them and their experience, and what it could mean for each of you to be sort of on the other side of this journey or moving through this journey, and thinking about what it means not just for your kids to be educated here, but to find your own place as a family in the Schechter community. And we want to just open it up. You're welcome to ask any of our panelists questions. Hillary and I are happy to answer questions. Anything you want to raise. It is free game.
Don't raise your hands too fast.
Shadow of power. And if not, I will just assume that our panelists gave you so much information that you're going to take it home to process it this evening. Hillary and I are going to hang out if you have questions that are more individual. And I just want to say thank you for letting us share with you what is so special to us about our school and our community. Sometimes we come to this to share with you, and we end up leaving here being like, that was so good for my soul. Bring the kids here. Listening to the people who make our community what it is tonight, I will also say, I hope it's good for you, but I know it's good for my soul. And I am leaving here with so much pride in the work that we do each day, knowing that we are helping to raise the next generation of committed Jewish adults who are walking out into a world that is actually unfamiliar to us as adults, And that's okay, because if they have the confidence in being comfortable in who they are and the ability to look at their world thoughtfully with curiosity and great critical thinking skills, we feel good about our work, that we're giving them the skills inside that they need to approach the outside. And so thank you for being with us tonight. It's really our pleasure to speak to you, and we're gonna hang out and see if you have any questions. Feel free to come chat with any of us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.